Hey everyone, today I want to talk about 4 optional rules from the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide that you might want to consider for your campaign. They are all located towards the back of the Dungeon Master Guide in the section that deals with optional rules. The first one I want to look at has to do with initiative. There's several options provided in here about how you could calculate initiative a little differently to try to speed up the game. The one I want to focus on is the initiative score. One of the challenges when you run the game is having to stop to roll initiative even for fairly basic encounters that shouldn't take very much time. I've had situations where we spend a few minutes determining the turn order and then the enemy gets defeated in a few seconds before the first round is even over. This is an option that allows you to speed that process along and get into the combat quicker, get the encounter done, and then move on and continue playing. The idea is that each player has a passive initiative that is 10 plus their dexterity. When the encounter begins, you just jump right into it using this predetermined list of initiative scores instead of having to roll it every time. It's not really ideal for every encounter, but as an option for when turn order is not really important, it can save a ton of time and allow the table to spend more time playing the game instead of doing the math. The next one I want to talk about is one that I think a lot of people actually do use, and that has to do with healing. And that one is back on page 267. And the question that we ask is, how many times have you spent a day doing something that was physically or mentally draining, and then you woke up the next day still feeling the effects of that activity? That's pretty common. What is unusual is to finish one day absolutely spent and then wake up the next day feeling fit as a fiddle and ready to take on the world again. By default, that's kind of how the healing works within Dungeons & Dragons. You take a long rest and you wake up the next day and you've got all your hit points back. If you want a little more realism in your game, then you should consider the slow natural healing option. Instead of regaining all of your hit points after a long rest, what you do is you roll a hit dice to heal. Roll the hit die, add your Constitution modifier, and you recover that many hit points. If you want to heal more, then you spend another hit die and repeat the process until either you've regained as many hit points as you want, you are fully healed, or you run out of hit dice to roll. The kicker is that you only regain the spent hit dice after a long rest, and even then you only regain up to half your total. If you have 8 hit dice and you spend 6 of them to heal, after your next long rest, you only get 4 of them back. It's a much more realistic approach to healing, and it makes the players think twice about pushing their characters to the limits. I think that's one that really should be part of the standard rules within Dungeons & Dragons. The next one I want to look at is hero points. This one is best if you have a small party and you need a little extra power to get them through. The hero point allows you to roll a d6 and add the result to any attack, skill check, or saving throw. You can also use it to turn a failed death save into a success. Whenever you level up, you get 5 plus half your level hero points. But you can't get them back once you've spent them. The next time you level up, you lose any unused hero points and you get a new batch to replace them. I know this sounds like something that can make a character overpowered, but consider a party of only 2 to 3 characters. You might find yourself as the DM constantly having to rebalance encounters on the fly to account for the small party. That situation can also make the encounters less interesting because you have to subtract so many monsters from them, it's simply not a very exciting encounter. Or you can just give the characters a little edge through hero points and run the encounter as intended. The encounters will likely be a little more fun and the players will still have to be careful how they manage the points since they don't get them back. Again, it's not for all cases, but as an optional rule, it can really come in handy. The last one I want to talk about is the most unpopular and possibly even controversial one, and that has to do with Proficiency Dice. I ran a poll recently on my YouTube channel and asked people what they thought about Proficiency Dice, and only 20% of the people that responded said that they use Proficiency Dice. I'm really a big fan of them, and I think everybody should consider a couple things. One, proficiency should not be a guarantee. You could be amazing at something and yet still mess up when the time comes to do it. And at other times, you might do better than you ever expected that you could. So rolling a die gives you that range of values that is more realistic if that's what you're after. The other thing to consider is why settle? At first level, you get a +2 bonus. But if you use the die instead of the flat bonus, then there's a 75% chance that you're going to roll at least a 2. As your proficiency increases, you will always have a 50% chance of rolling higher than the flat bonus and only a 25% chance of rolling less. To me, it seems like a small risk for a possible big reward, especially at the higher levels, and I really think it's a lot more fun when you get to roll more dice during an encounter. So what do you think? Do you use any of these rules? Do you have strong opinions about any of them? Are there other rules from the Dungeon Master's Guide that you use instead? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Please do subscribe to the channel and sign up for my newsletter. You will get a free one-shot adventure just for signing up. The link is down in the description. Until next time, take care.